What if the reason your bank account never grows has nothing to do with how much you earn, and everything to do with 7 specific things you keep spending money on? Not gambling, not luxury vacations, not irresponsible decisions. 7 things that feel completely normal, that most people around you are spending on right now, that the entire economy of 2026 is designed to make feel necessary, reasonable, and even smart. Here's what got me thinking about this. A study published by the Federal Reserve found that nearly 40% of Americans couldn't cover an unexpected $400 expense without borrowing or selling something. Not people who are unemployed, not people living in poverty, working people, earning people, people who look, from the outside, like they're doing okay. And the question that study raises, the one nobody wants to ask out loud, is not where does the money go, it's where does it disappear to, so quietly that no one notices until the emergency arrives. The answer, more often than not, is these 7 things. Hi, my name is Alpha, and in this video, we're going to go through all 7, slowly, honestly, with real examples from people who lived the consequences. Not to make you feel bad about past decisions, but to give you the clarity that makes the next decision different. Because awareness is always where change begins. Let's get into it. Before we get into the list, I want to say something that I think matters more than the list itself. The financial world loves to blame individuals. You spent too much, you saved too little, you made bad choices. And while personal responsibility is real and important, the framing that most financial content operates from leaves out something crucial. The 7 things we're about to talk about are not random. They're not accidents. They are industries, billion-dollar, psychologically sophisticated industries, built specifically to capture your money before you have a chance to think carefully about whether you actually want to give it. They use behavioral science. They use social pressure. They use convenience and habit and the specific emotional vulnerabilities that come from living a busy, stressful, modern life. They are very good at what they do. So, if you've been spending on any of these, the response that serves you is not shame. It's understanding, because once you see the mechanism clearly, you can stop being its target. Number 1. Subscriptions you've stopped actively choosing. There is a specific kind of financial drain that is almost uniquely modern, and it's this one. Not the subscriptions you deliberately choose and genuinely use. Those are fine. The ones that cost you money are the ones you stopped choosing, the ones that renewed automatically, quietly, without a decision, into a version of your life where you barely notice them anymore. The average American household, according to research by C+R Research, now spends over $200 per month on subscriptions. That's more than $2,400 a year. And when participants in that study were asked to estimate their monthly subscription spending before seeing their actual statements, most of them guessed less than half the real number. Mariah Carey spoke in an interview about a period early in her career when she had so many automatic charges running in the background of her finances that her team had to do a full audit just to understand where the money was going. Her quote was sharp and memorable. She said the bills that don't ask permission are the bills you stop asking about. The problem is not subscribing. The problem is the passive renewal, the thing you signed up for during a free trial 18 months ago, that now charges you every month, that you haven't consciously chosen in a year. In 2026, this is more relevant than ever. Every app, every platform, every service has migrated toward a subscription model, which means the discipline required to stay on top of what you're paying for has never been higher, and most people are not keeping up. The fix is not dramatic. It's one afternoon, a full audit of every recurring charge on every card and account. Cancel what you haven't actively used in 60 days. That one session, for most people, recovers somewhere between $50 and $200 a month, immediately, with zero change to actual lifestyle quality. Number 2. Extended warranties and insurance products you don't understand. This one sounds small. It isn't. Every time you buy an appliance, an electronic, a car, a piece of furniture, someone at the point of sale is trained to offer you protection, an extended warranty, a service plan, a coverage product with a name that sounds reassuring, and terms that are written to be confusing. Consumer Reports has published extensive analysis showing that extended warranties almost never pay off for the buyer, The price of the warranty, on average, exceeds the cost of the repairs it covers, and the claims process is designed with enough friction that many people who are technically covered never successfully collect. The insurance industry as a whole, not health or life insurance, which serve genuine protective functions, but the add-on, point-of-sale, impulse purchase protection products, is one of the most profitable businesses in the world precisely because they sell peace of mind in exchange for money that, statistically, they will almost never have to give back. Dave Ramsey has said on his show repeatedly that the extended warranty is almost always a bad deal for the consumer and a great deal for the retailer. The math is built in the seller's favor. It always is. Before saying yes to any protection product you didn't specifically seek out, pause. Ask what it covers, what it excludes, and what the claim process requires. Most of the time, the honest answers to those three questions make the decision for you. Number 3. Fast fashion that doesn't last. I want to be careful here because this one has layers. Fast fashion, the mass-produced, trend-driven, low-cost clothing cycle that dominates most of retail in 2026, feels like a budget-friendly choice. The price per item is low, but the price per year of actual use is often far higher than buying fewer, better things that last. A $15 shirt that falls apart after 6 washes is not cheaper than a $60 shirt that lasts 4 years. The math on a per-wear basis runs strongly against the disposable option, but the psychology runs the other way. The low price tag at purchase feels like saving money. The cumulative cost over time is invisible. Stacey Abrams, politician, author, and someone who has spoken publicly and candidly about managing financial pressure during years when her income was inconsistent, described the counterintuitive shift she made at one point of moving away from cheap, frequent purchases toward fewer, more durable ones. She said it felt wrong at first because the individual price tags were higher, but it freed up mental space and financial space in a way that the constant cycle of buying and replacing never had. In 2026, the fast fashion cycle has accelerated to a pace that makes the financial and psychological cost even higher than it was 5 years ago. More trends, faster cycles, more pressure to update, more purchases that become irrelevant within months. The alternative is not expensive, it's intentional. A smaller wardrobe of things you genuinely wear, bought less frequently, maintained better. The financial result, over a year, is almost always in favor of the slower approach. Number 4. Lottery tickets and low-odds gambling marketed as entertainment. The average American spends roughly $600 per year on lottery tickets. That number is not evenly distributed. Studies consistently show that lower-income households spend a significantly higher percentage of their income on lottery products than higher-income ones. The lottery is not entertainment in any neutral sense. It is a tax, a voluntary one, but a tax, that disproportionately affects the people who can least afford it, sold through the specific psychological mechanism of variable reward, the occasional small win, the near miss that keeps you trying, the dream that the next ticket is the one. Flea market legend and entrepreneur John Paul DeJoria, who went from being homeless twice to building Paul Mitchell and Patron into global brands, has spoken in interviews about the mindset difference between people who invest small amounts consistently and people who chase large, unlikely single events. His observation was simple. He said that every dollar you spend hoping for luck is a dollar you didn't spend building something. The lottery is not the only version of this. In 2026, the explosion of sports betting apps, online gambling platforms, and crypto gambling products has made low-odds, high-excitement financial products more accessible than at any point in history. The psychology is identical across all of them. The house wins, on average, always. And the cost is not just the money lost. It's the habit of relating to money as something you win, rather than something you build. Number 5. Paying full price on things with a predictable discount cycle. This one is not about coupons, it's about timing. Almost every major consumer category, electronics, furniture, clothing, travel, software, operates on a predictable discount cycle. Electronics get significantly cheaper in the months after launch. Furniture goes on sale at predictable intervals. Flights booked at specific windows are consistently cheaper than flights booked at others. Software tools have annual sales that are scheduled and known. Paying full price on things that will definitely be cheaper, not maybe cheaper, definitely cheaper, is a decision that costs real money every year without providing any additional value in return. Warren Buffett is famous for his patience, not just in investing but in consumption. He is described waiting for the right price with the same language in personal spending that he uses in investment decisions. The discipline of not paying more than something is worth and knowing what things are worth relative to their typical price is a transferable skill that saves meaningful money across a year. In 2026, price tracking tools, alert systems, and publicly available discount calendars make this easier than it has ever been. The information is available. Using it is a choice. Number 6. Financial products with fees you haven't calculated. This one is the quietest one on the list, and it might be the most expensive over time. Every financial product, every fund, every account, every investment vehicle has a cost. Sometimes it's visible. Often it's expressed as a percentage that sounds small. A 1% annual fee, a 0.75 expense ratio, an account maintenance charge that reads as a few dollars a month. The compounding effect of fees over decades is one of the most underappreciated forces in personal finance. A 1% annual fee on a $100,000 investment over 30 years, compared to a 0.1% fee, costs roughly $100,000 in lost growth. Not because the fee is large, because of how long it runs and what it takes away from the compounding base. John Bogle spent the last decades of his life trying to make this calculation visible to ordinary investors. He called high-fee financial products a betrayal of the people who could least afford to lose the growth those fees consumed. His creation of the low-cost index fund was a direct response to a financial services industry that was profiting from fees that most investors didn't know they were paying. In 2026, low-cost options exist for almost every financial need. The comparison is available. The math is accessible. The only thing required is the willingness to look at what your financial products actually cost, not just in dollars, but in the compounding they silently take. Number 7. Convenience, spending that's become invisible. The last one is the most personal, and I think it's the one that most people will feel most directly. Convenience spending is the category of purchases made not because you wanted the thing, but because you were tired, rushed, stressed, or in a moment where the friction of the alternative felt too high. The delivery fee on food you could have made, the parking garage instead of the slightly farther free spot, the airport bottle of water, the last-minute booking premium, the pre-cut vegetables that cost 3 times the uncut version. None of these are wrong individually. Life is busy. Convenience has value. The problem is when convenience spending becomes so habitual that it's no longer a deliberate choice. It's just the default. And defaults in 2026 are expensive. Chris Rock spoke in an interview once about the difference between being rich and being wealthy. He said rich is having a lot of money. Wealthy is never having to think about money. And the people who stay stuck in the middle, who earn decent money and never quite get ahead, are often the ones paying the convenience tax on every single moment of friction in their day without ever adding it up. That convenience tax, totaled annually, is rarely trivial. For most households, it runs to thousands of dollars. Money that didn't go anywhere intentional. Money that bought small moments of ease rather than any lasting change. Here's the reframe that matters. None of these 7 things are about deprivation. Not one of them requires you to become someone who never enjoys money or never makes a comfortable choice. They're about the difference between conscious spending and default spending. Between choosing where your money goes and letting habit, convenience, marketing, and inertia choose for you. The financial stability that most people are searching for is not hiding behind a higher income. It's hiding behind the money that's already coming in, the part that's currently being captured by subscriptions you forgot, fees you never calculated, convenience charges you stopped noticing, and products designed to feel necessary when they aren't. Seeing those things clearly doesn't require a budget overhaul or a lifestyle transformation. It requires one honest look at where the money actually goes, and one decision, made once, quietly, to stop letting the default win. This week, pick 2 of the 7. Just 2. Run the subscription audit. One afternoon, every recurring charge, cancel what you haven't chosen in 60 days. That money comes back immediately. Calculate the fees on your financial products. Look up the expense ratio or annual fee on every account you hold. If anything is above 0.5% and you're not sure why, find out. The information is worth having. Track your convenience spending for 7 days, not to stop it entirely, to see it. Write down every purchase made out of friction rather than genuine want. At the end of the week, the total will tell you something. Let it. And then, slowly, without pressure, start replacing one default with one decision. One automatic renewal with a conscious choice. One full-price purchase with a patient one. One convenience charge with a slightly less convenient alternative that costs a fraction. Small, consistent, real. That's the pace that actually holds. I want to end with the Federal Reserve statistic I opened with. 40% of Americans unable to cover a $400 emergency without borrowing. That number is not about income. The people in that statistic are working, they're earning, they're living lives that look, in most visible ways, like functional adult lives. The gap between what they earn and what they have available is filled, quietly, consistently, invisibly, by some version of the 7 things we talked about today. Not all 7, maybe 2 or 3, but enough to consume the margin that would otherwise become the buffer. You don't need to eliminate all 7 at once. You don't need a perfect financial life built in a month. You need one honest look at the list, one decision made with clarity instead of habit, one margin protected that wasn't protected before. That's the beginning. And the beginning, for most people who actually build financial stability, is almost always quieter and smaller and more ordinary than anyone expects it to be. Start small, stay honest, and trust that the accumulation of small, clear decisions is what eventually adds up to something large enough to matter. And if this video gave you something useful, if it named something that needed to be named, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Every single person who finds this content finds it because someone else shared it, liked it, or subscribed. That's how this community grows, and this community is why we keep showing up to make it. See you in the next one.